Good evening and good morning in India, those who are listening and viewing from India. As and when we know that there is an serious escalation that has happened in Bharat for the Pelgam, and we have with us a very senior most journalist who is writing in so many newspaper here in USA. He is from Chicago, Avtans Kumarji, and he has a wide experience of journalism for more than 25 years now. And we will be having some light and guidance and details about the Pelgam incidents, about the escalation that has happened on the India and Pakistan border, and ultimately we will discuss on something called a definition, or we would like to give a little bit of focus on Islamic terrorism as well. Thank you, sir.
Namaste.
Thanks for your time.
Thank you for having me, and namaste to all your viewers.
Thank you. Sir, first come first, that how this thing happened, and do you see that there is a hand of Pakistan behind this Pahalgam?
Yes, so everything that we know through media and through the government of India channels and government of India's reporting, that we all know on 22nd of April what happened. There were lots of tourists from all over India, from all over Bharat. They were there holidaying. A lot of the people were newlyweds. So a lot of them were honeymooning there. They were with they were there with their kids, with their families. Some with even with their parents. And this was in Kashmir in Pahalgam, and this is a very popular tourist destination among most Indians, And as everybody who grew up in India knows, Kashmir has a very nostalgic, very emotional connection, and for most of India. For one of the reasons that because the way we have the Bollywood movies show the evergreens, the snow, and the people when it's March, it's April and May. People like to get away from the heat in India. It's a very popular tourist destination, and also keep in mind that until a year or two, couple of years ago, these places were not accessible for normal citizens, Indian citizens, and even foreigners, for nobody, because of the terrorism. You talked about Islamic terrorism, and we will get right into it because this is very much part of Islamic terrorism that has happened. Uh, uh, in 1990s, in one of the waves, one of the last waves, a lot of Hindus who were living in Kashmir area, the valley, they were driven out because by these terrorists, these Islamists, and Kashmir went from being a जिसको कहते हैं the heaven on earth.
It is also called mini Switzerland.
Mini Switzerland, right? Because remember, there was a video. Somebody was interviewing a kid from Gujarat, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we were there in Switzerland of India." So
Yeah.
yeah, so we have a very different kind of, very nice feeling about Kashmir. But since 1990 afterwards, Kashmir has been a very different place, not accessible for most of the citizens, not accessible for normal people. People have been driven out. There were no movie theaters, no cricket matches, no dance and music, all kinds of things because of Islamic terrorism. Schools were burned down. So, in the last couple of years, since the abrogation of Article 370 by the Modi government, and basically initiative by the Modi government and passed by the Parliament of India, both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha, and the president signing it, they gave that made it possible for a lot of people to go to Kashmir because the law and order was now, very normal, and suddenly there were a lot of tourism and all that. So they were there, and suddenly out of nowhere, these terrorists, I think there were 4 or 5 of them, they came in. They asked people to identify themselves, asked them to identify why, because they wanted to separate Muslims from non-Muslims. So most of.
Sorry to interrupt you, but before
Mhm.
we go there, there is one perception, and a bunch of people, very high intellectual people, are talking about that why there was an election declared in JNK in spite of having this kind of disturbance problems over there. And Supreme Court intervened and they gave a signal that no, we need election in JNK. Do you have any intel that why Supreme Court did this? It's none of their jurisdiction either, right?
Right. It's not. It's not. In my opinion, it's not their business. They have to see. The courts are there to see things are done within the constitutional framework. Supreme Court has no way of knowing what the intelligence reports are unless they are given by the government. They have no way to see how things are going by law and order. But after the abrogation of 370, um, there's a stipulation in the Constitution that the election should be held within 6 months of any government, to be in any government that are suspended or whatever happens to the government. The next assembly or next government should take place within the 6 month period. And I think that's where the Supreme Court came into picture. But then again, look at that. Supreme Court intervened even in Manipur.
Yeah,
Right? So, and we know that there are a lot of places Supreme Court has so many cases pending, but they get into things that are not within their domain, and ultimately, the government and the people of India, people of the state have to suffer. So yes, I think I don't want to say directly Supreme Court was involved. I don't want to. I have family in India and don't want to get into trouble with the courts. Um,
no,
but
but Nishikant Dubey ji openly oppose, and
right.
if we go back and look at his statements,
Hmm.
he bluntly said that this is an intervention and they have no business to get into this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And again, I have my family, but I would like to say that somewhere or other, Supreme Court was compromised for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah, and we are seeing the similar kind of things here, and also in the U.S., where you know, in the immigrant situation,
Immigration, yeah.
yeah, and there are just lower courts are getting into it in the regular day-to-day business of the government.
So judicially also, nowadays it's hard to believe each and every judgment or believe wholeheartedly
Right.
the way we were believing in back of the time when I was kid. Judicial, any judge is so much respected,
Yes.
but now the faith has been gone. Even the bribery case, they found so much of money in that judge, and nothing has came out so far.
Right. Right. It's
Nothing is, yeah, nothing has been disclosed.
yeah.
What happened to that? Where the case is? What is going on? No FIR, no charge sheet, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, and we all know about how the collegium system worked in India. There is no transparency. There is no accountability. And, they choose among themselves who's going to be the judge, who's going to be the chief justice, and things like that. They all transfer each other. So yes, there is a great need to reform the judiciary in India, and I think people have been talking about it. And if you remember, I think it was the first term of Prime Minister Modi itself that they brought out NJAC,
Yeah,
which passed the at that time. Modi government did not have the numbers in Rajya Sabha, still that passed. Both the houses of the parliament, Sansad के दोनों सदनों में पास हुआ.
Arun
And then,
Jaitley was the whistleblower.
right, and then the Supreme Court itself nullified that, legislative decision, which is,
Yeah,
which is definitely the domain of the legislature. They draft the constitution, they draft the law, they are the lawmaking bodies. Yeah.
but somebody has to do something on that.
Right.
Anyway, let's back to our main thing that they
Yeah.
did ask the religion, sir.
They did ask for it.
Who came, they asked, and those who said we are Hindu,
Mhm.
they were point blank shot.
Right.
So
They also, I think it is very important for people to know to what extent they went to ascertain that they were not Muslims. So if they could not identify through their IDs or name, or if there was any ambiguity in that, they asked them to take your pants down, unzip your pants. Do you
yeah,
know why? Your viewers should know. Those who live in India, those who are Hindus, they know, but outsiders do not know that the Hindus do not undergo circumcision, and
yeah,
that's a big mark, and that's why they were trying to undo the pants. And the people who were dead, Times of India reported that there were people with their pants unzipped and pants pulled
yeah.
down. Yeah, and another very significant point that I would make is that they still gave some of the people an option to, okay, ठीक है, बच जाओगे अगर तुम कलमा पढ़ दो, recite the kalma, which is an Islamic verse. So basically, they said, okay, basically it was saying that if you become Muslim, we'll let you go. You have a chance. Recite kalma, become Muslim on the spot, and you can go. So yes, it was very targeted. It was, we have seen a lot of narrative from the Western media, even from some of the Indian media. They just stop at calling it tourists. So of course there were tourists, but the tourists, they were picked up as Hindus or non-Muslims mostly, and most of them were Hindus. 24, I think 24 of them were Hindus.
I think 24 were Hindu, one was Christian, and one guy who tried to save this.
Yes.
Though he was Muslim, they shot him dead.
Yes.
So there's something, nowadays this secular, though they don't know exact word of secular, the meaning, but nowadays a phrase is too much there of secularism, leftism, and this communist people. Still, they are not agreeing and ready to say that this happened due to a Islamic terrorism. Though we can't say immediately Islamic terrorism, I would say radical Islamization, but it has been proven now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have anything to add on it?
It is 100% Islamic terrorism, and I don't know how else you will call it, right? I also, if you remember, I don't know if you have seen it, that the zip line, the zip line operator, when one of the tourists were going through the zip line, and there are a lot of people say that probably he had an inclination, he was part of it, because once the firing started, he started saying Allahu Akbar.
So local were also involved in that.
Right.
And they try to twist his thing also, that it's his daily routine, and he keeps saying that each and every plan. No, but that was totally wrong. Even the horse riders, those who own the horse and take the tourist upstairs, they are also involved.
And I know a little bit. We all know. We grew up in India, and all kinds of people are around in our neighborhood. Muslims, there are Christians, there are Buddhists, there are Jains, all kinds of people. And even though we are not Muslims, we know a lot of their customs and traditions, because we grew up as family, right? We Muslims, we had in our neighborhood, they all wore sari. When I was growing up, they all had sindoor, they all had chudi. Okay, it changed by the time I was in college. It's changed from sari to burqa. So we know, and what they do when you start something, they say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, not Allahu Akbar.
Yeah, there are so many things that we also narrate like that only. Sir,
Yeah.
coming back to the point that once this thing happen, where and how do you see that India's retaliate?
Mhm.
Is it justified?
It is extremely justified, and I think we can go back to Pulwama attack, and we can see how the new order was set up by Prime Minister Modi. He did the surgical strike, if you remember, in Pulwama. The militants, the terrorists blew up a CRPF bus. Around 40 CRPF paramilitary people died in that attack. And within few days, the government of India took surgical strike, airstrike, that not only penetrated the Pakistan occupied Kashmir, but also the Pakistani territory, the genuine territory. Um, and so we knew that this will happen, especially because this was civilian killing, not military.
Yeah.
When they did military, Prime Minister went all the way in the territory and did a lot of damage. So we knew it was going to come. We were just waiting, and I think it was very well managed. Operation Sindoor, just from the even the optics of it to actual execution. I think it was pretty good. Remember we talked about how some of those tourists or Hindus who were killed were they were having their honeymoon, so they were newlywed, and so Sindoor has a lot of significance in Hindu culture, in general Indian culture.
Yeah.
Um, so that's why they chose, I think, deliberately they chose Sindoor to signify. Sindoor is Mata ko lagate hain, to Mata is Shakti. So it's a Shakti, and when you are married, it's a part of the Grihastha ashram. That's also part of compassion, love for each other, but it's also Shakti. So I think this was a very good choice in Operation Sindoor. They again. I think one of the things Prime Minister Modi in his speech today, he said that the Pakistanis were expecting uh, border wars. So there will be, they will probably attack by rifles and all that, and they were not expecting air attacks. But it was a very sustained, very precision air attack. We took out a lot of terrorist hiding places, training places, and as it lingered because they started sending their drones in, then I think India attacked some of the cities also, and the air bases were attacked. Our military establishment was also attacked, and I think that was the goal. I, I, I don't think India ever had a goal of capturing Pakistan.
Nah,
So yes,
India never did that, and no
yes,
intentions to getting into
no.
that system.
It doesn't make sense. A lot of people have fascination for Akhand Bharat and all that, but
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
imagine we already have 200 million people, 200 million Muslims. If
yeah.
we get more, what are you going to have? And it's a difference of uh, East Germany versus West Germany. When they became one, they unified. the, East Germany was destitute. Pakistan is a destitute country. They don't have anything. They don't can make. I mean, I'm exaggerating, but they can't even make sui dhaga or machis.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So they don't have money. If the Western powers did not keep bailing them out through IMF loans and things like that, they have nothing.
So the moment you said that Western countries, but I believe there is some another story.
Hmm.
There is too much speculation and rumors are also there that China backed Pakistan and they provoke as and when India is getting on a good economy, all the manufacturers from China are migrating to India.
Mhm.
Do you believe so?
Yeah, there is a good indication that this was somehow managed by China. Like you said, a lot of manufacturing industry are moving from China because of the tariff war and all that. And we also know that Pakistan is the puppet of China, is totally sold out to China. It's everything that they do is by through China. Their technology is Chinese, their money is Chinese. Even now, there is a lot of Chinese population in Pakistan. Can you imagine that? Um, so, there is a. I think there could be a proxy war because China maybe wanted to test India's preparedness. Um, because remember when we had Galwan
Yeah.
uh, a couple of years ago. So that was hand-to-hand combat, right? There is no because
No weapon is allowed.
weapons are not allowed, and we beat the India beat the
Hell out of them. Yeah.
hell out of them, and a lot of casualties. The number they accepted, despite all the censorship that goes through the Communist Party and all that, that was huge. I mean, many people will say that the casualty was probably 4 or 5 times than what they accepted. So it is very much possible that it was a proxy war from China. A lot of equipment that was used was the Chinese, so maybe they wanted to do a test run of those equipments as also, because there's one thing to get an equipment, there is one thing to operate that equipment. And I think Pakistan has time and again shown that they don't even have the capability to operate some of the high-tech engines or equipments.
Sir, what was the cause of taking a pause on Sindur? There was a ceasefire
Hmm.
declared, right? And
Hmm.
within 3 4 hours only, it started again. Do you think it was pressurized by China or US or what exactly it was?
I personally don't think so because I don't think Modi can be pressurized, especially when it comes to national security. In those matters, he's very strong, and as you saw when he spoke in Bihar in a public
Yeah.
rally, and he spoke in English just to make sure that everybody in the world understands there is no mistranslation or anything. He spoke in of all the places in Bihar in English how he is going to handle it, and also in today's address to nation, he sounded very angry also, and he also mentioned that our goals were achieved. What we wanted to do, what India wanted to do, they have achieved. They wanted to severely damage their ability and punish them. Uh, like we already said, that we did not want to capture Rawalpindi or Islamabad or part of Pakistan, or because that was never the goal, and it's not practical, and it's not pragmatic even to think about it. A lot of people get into the jingoism of Pakistan kabza kar lenge, but that's not practical. So whatever goals they had with the you know uh, with their conversation with the military bosses and all, and I think they they achieved that goal.
How about POK?
Pardon me? How
How?
about PO? How about POK? Yes, it's going to be a process. I think people within the Modi government have openly talked about it that we want to resolve. But again, remember, we are not a terrorist state. We meaning India. India is not a terrorist state. India is a responsible world citizen state. It also recognizes that it's a big power now, world's fourth largest economy, and has a lot of wealth, a lot has a very big military and all that. So India doesn't want to be irresponsible in the world, just like Pakistan. You know, When you have combat like that on the border, or shelling and all that, innocent people die. And if we want to occupy, if India wants to occupy that part, people living in that part are also Indian who are occupied by the Pakistani. So eventually they are also part of India. So we don't. India doesn't want to get into that kind of situation. But eventually, the there are multiple ways to inflict pain on Pakistan, and I think Indian government and Indian people are realizing how they can do it. The Indus Water Treaty suspension
Yeah.
is one big one. I don't know if you remember, just maybe a month before the Pahalgam attack, there was a train thing in Baluchistan,
Yeah.
right? So a lot of things are happening. We don't know how they are happening, and who is doing it, who is behind it. And also a lot of people have been talking about how suddenly all those terrorists are being dead or disappearing and all that. So war is being fought at multiple levels, and I think that's what the government of India is doing. And a lot of things are covert. We will never know, but hopefully someday.
So last question.
Hmm.
There was a speculation, there were news. I can't say news, but I am not a Pakistan security minister, so I can quote social media as well. That there was too much social media thing was also going on. That due to the nuclear leak, we took a pause, and still today also I heard something about that there is a nuclear leak there in Pakistan. Is there any authentic statement or any news, authentic news for that?
No, not that from the sources that I have read or heard from them. No, no one from within the government of India has talked about it. It's mostly on the internet right now. But I think we know from my sources and for a lot of people that who have written and talked about it, that the attack got very close to their nuclear installation, and that was the intelligence intercept that uh, uh, that Secretary Marco Rubio and JD Vance got, and Susie Wise got, and that was the trigger for making the calls to Prime Minister Modi and Pakistani leadership as well. But we also know that Prime Minister Modi did not give any word or anything like that we will do this, we will do that. He said that first of all, their military should call our military people, and we'll go from there. So yes, I have no concrete information about the nuclear.
But right now, that is the talk of the internet.
Right.
This thing happened.
Yeah.
Speculations are so much.
Right.
Still, it's going on. If
Right.
you see today late night news, there
Hmm.
were 4 to 5 places drone attack were been done from Pakistan.
Right. Right. There was. Yeah.
Thank you so much about your time, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you very much. It was a privilege to be on your show, on your
Thank,
TV. First time. Hopefully, we'll do it more often.
uh, Not more often, sir. Pretty soon, I am going to come up with another episode of the same thing about the
Mhm.
updates, what is going on. And
Mhm.
listeners and viewers, please keep an eye on this segment that we have started. Uh, we will give you the update within 2 or 3 days what exactly has happened and how it is going to be now in future for India and Pakistan war. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you. Namaste. Good night.
Namaste.